committee for inviting me. So I need to do disclaimer as well. So I'm biochemist by training, and Prof. Niki and Puan Sulasi, they are my idol for topical specific field. All right, let me quickly go through. Okay. I have few slides to actually give some glimpse of idea how actually what we are doing and how relate to the so-called the chemical constituents. So I spent around 10 years in Monash University Pharmacy. So during that time we kickstart one small research group, Biofunctional Molecule Exploratory Research Group. Then it grown, then it being invited to Sunway University, then it formed research center. So now it's Sunway Biofunctional Molecule Discovery Center. So we basically work on different compounds and search for its functionalities. Yeah. So, okay. So I always put in this image. So black or white cats is deemed as the good cat. Anyone? Good cat, white cat, black cat. The cat can catch a rat as long as it can catch, it's deemed as a good cat. So what is the correlation? This is our core concept for our center. We believe every single compound in this world poses the functionalities for human. It's just our limited capacity to unreveal their function. So in our center, we work with a lot of activities, everything. And we have a very comprehensive setup of the equipment. I won't spend too much time. So basically, we spend a lot of analysis set up in our center, look at all those chemical constituents and characterization. And also, we invested the only one single cell technology in Malaysia. Then be able to come up with different testing. And also, you will see we also invested in scanning ion conductor microscopy, the only one in South Asia. Then we can work out all those the changes inside the cells until one cell. Yeah. So this is just an example. I'm not trying to do a publicity, but the fact is, you can see SBMDC, every single spot is one cell. Our technology is able to play with the orientations of the cells, and we can study the cell-cell interactions. This is something we're trying to develop in our center. All right. Our center also is an official innovation hub for Sunway Multi-Care Pharmacy, so 120 branches across country. So we work on the functional food development and also some of the trials. So with the help of Prof. Long, I think Prof. Niki, student as well. Yeah. Okay. Okay. General outline, I will just skip through. I think it's always good that we have the veterans in the area to kickstart the talk, then we actually give you some glimpse of idea in terms of all this information. So I will just quickly jump through. Like for example, we know that for male adolescents, actually it's like 1 in 4 teenagers in Malaysia, actually they are involved in vaping. Yeah, and also I think the percentage majority of them is being highlighted by Prof. Niki. The key message is, even though there's a drop in the smoking combustion space, but there's an increase in the vaping percentage. And most of the time, due to the misconceptions in terms of safety, less harm by using the vaping, then they actually start vaping, but at the end of the day, they're actually using both. So that's why the dual is another issue. So we spend time, because biochemists by training, we look at the chemistries as well, right? So if let's say we do the anatomy on the e-liquid inside the vape, so I think PG, VG, they make up more than 50% of them. They are the humectant. And also why it's being selected, mainly because of the nicotine and all those compounds are dissolved well, and also actually can vaporize well as well. So they actually chosen this. But in US and so on, previously they actually are having the weight actually with the carbanoids, DHC, then they use the vitamin E acetate. Yeah, so slightly different in terms of the base. But in our country, I think majority the base is high percentage on the PG and VG. Then nicotine salt compared to the nicotine, I think years back when the first generations of the vape, they use nicotine. But later I will show you why they actually do these benzoic acid protonations, then actually increase the uptake of it. There's a reason behind. Yeah. Then flavoring, 1 to 5%. This is one of the scariest ingredient, which is like basically we don't know what it will do to our body. Like the rest, they are major, so perhaps some studies being done. But for flavoring, there are so big diversity of them. And basically, we don't know after it's been vaporized what they became and how it's going to affect our body. So as with some other additives as well, which is like not being studied. Okay, just now we talk about the nicotine salt. So early generations of the vape, they use the nicotine, but actually compared to the the conventions of combustion secret, you can see it's in the white color. So this is the uptake inside the blood for the nicotine and the time. So it means that last time, if let's say combustion old condition, then it's actually increased. But the fact is, early stage of the versions of the vape, the nicotine up is very low compared to that. That's why they understand chemistry well, right? So they understand very well. They did this process, basically became the nicotine salt, and you can see more or less similar. So that's why they did these chemical reactions on it. Mainly, they know what for the marketing or commercialization and how people will feel the response of it in the pharmacological way. So anyhow, in short, is trying to fulfill the so-called the shock. They can feel the shock in the similar way for the combustion way of the cigarette. And compared to combustion, you just burn it. That's why you got particles, metals. But for vape, basically you have a liquid. And we heat it up by using the coil. Maybe you can think like your home, you having a kettle, boiling water, there's a coil inside there. So basically they have a coil, they heat it up, then actually chemistry process is pyrolysis, not to worry. So you just know that it get heated up, then it became aerosol. So at the moment, majority of the time, I think the regulations is looking at the liquid. But the fact is, aerosol, there's a big transformation, which is we don't know what it will transform. This is a real problem for vape, the fundamental problem, because we can regulate this, but it doesn't mean that we know every single thing for this part. Okay, hope you understand why vape is difficult at the moment. Yeah. Okay, those are just the different fancy names of the chemicals. I think just now Prof. also mentioned, so acronym, which is like just imagine some of the vapors came out from the diesel engine. You just imagine some of the aerosol, just exactly part of the components. You are sitting behind a truck and you are getting the aerosol from the truck combustion. So there are some certain chemical components actually similar in short. Yeah. So not to scare you off all those and the name and everything. But heavy metal as well, you might be thinking that they might not be able to vaporize. But the fact is, they inside the coil, and they will leach out to become the small particle, nanoparticle, then with the vapor it came out. So that's why the heavy metal also the one that actually causing the issue. Okay, here is just to recapitulate. If let's say we look at PG, VG, and flavoring, and also the heavy metal through the different temperature. Yeah, you can see temperature is quite high, right? But the fact is, using the vape, it can be achieved that level. But after through that heating process, when enter into the mouthpiece part, I think it will be around 60 Celsius. Yeah, so that's why sometimes people will still think that it might affect the oral health as well in that sense. But basically, the temperature is quite high at the middle of the coil side. Yeah, and they can control the voltage so that you can enjoy different form of the aerosol. You understand? So just now here, Because pyrolysis is the heating process, and they can manually control the temperature of the vape. Actually, you get different form of different combinations of aerosol. So you have those people experiencing different kind of the sensation, just playing around with the voltage as well. Alright, jump through. Anyhow, it's just like the toxic chemicals and their health. I think formaldehyde, IARC group 1, same with the heavy metals as well. So basically, you at least already got two very scary kind of the chemicals, and you have even more. Yeah, we just leave out a few of them. This is just talk about rampasan. Yeah, within our country. So I try to get some information over here. So we are moved towards like just now we just talked about nicotine, but this is with some prohibited medicine or whatever thing or drugs. Alright. So I think you might be heard about K-pop, which is I think last year so much issue in Singapore. So now it's a controlled drug in Singapore, and particularly I think they got 3,000 pieces that they got from the Johor to Singapore. That's the reason that they have banned it, actually causing a lot of suicide cases in Singapore as well. So this is perhaps one of the quite a lot of cases. Then also the spice or K2 analogs of the cannabinoids. So they spice up with those controlled drug and benzodiazepine as well. So all those are the different states. Just now we are just talking about nicotine. Now we are talking about prohibited drug. Yeah. So it's been added into the vape liquid. Alright? And I think EVALI just now once I see raise up. So initially started in US. By now actually we don't have a single biomarkers to detect. It's a multiple way for the diagnosis to confirm. And likewise, just now at the beginning I mentioned about the vitamin E acetate. So during that time, I think mainly because vitamin E acetate, they came out with different SOP to confirm the disease. But the fact is now in our country, I think I just found out there's an update just now, once I see 48 cases. The fact is Malaysia, if let's say remember just now I mentioned BG and VG as a base. But in US during that time was vitamin E acetate. So we can learn through the process, but we need to come up the different way, yeah, to do this kind of the diagnosis as well. But perhaps we can learn through their data. Okay, we jump to. I think this one also covered. Likewise, we know that it's not just talking about the lung, and also actually neurological, cardio, because of the stiffness of the vascular. That's why it's like more easily the hypertension issues and so on. Oral health, even the propylene glycol itself damage the two animals throughout the time. Yeah. So I think this one is just a general. I believe that you might be able to follow. Okay. Now we talk about adolescence, and we know that it will actually affect because the brain is still in the developmental stage and easily get affected. I think that I won't go through in detail. I believe you do understand why we need to protect this. Perhaps we highlight a bit about our government initiatives. We took 20 years to decrease, I think 15% to 6% roughly, half of them, the use of the tobacco. But now we wait, and they are actually strategically targeting youngsters. And we know that if youngsters get addicted, then it might carry throughout their life. Yeah. So that's the challenge within I think our country, and also a lot of warriors and veterans. They are trying to come up with a way and also strategies to overcome this. So I put in some of the general terminology. Vaping is just flavored steam. So it's not just about the vape, the steam. Steam is just plain H2O. But now, just now we've gone through anatomy of the vape liquid. We know that it's not. The aerosol is a mixture. It's far more than what we able to understand. And the fact is, we don't understand all that yet. This is the truth. Yeah. And when we don't understand, you might be thinking that it's safe. Yeah. Everything is safe until one day it's proven unsafe. Okay, it helps you to quit smoking. This is another one. They say that not taking combustions or cigarette, take vape, yeah, better, because they think it's reduced harm and everything, but in fact, no. Alright. Nicotine free, I think what should I see raised ready to sound. Okay. Only heavy and long-term users are at risk. No. It's just even the first few parts, you will see the great difference, and you can check it through scientific data and publications. So that's the part that we try to highlight. All right. Last time we part of the scientific committee for So we've gone through all those process. Mainly the point trying to highlight is, I think if let's say you really calculate the vape liquid, the concentrations of the nicotine or nicotine salt inside there, you do the correlations with the conventional cigarette, 20 pieces. Actually, the dose inside the liquid is far more higher, far more higher compared to combustion cigarette. Yeah, that's the reason during that time, spend time to justify. We actually, during that time, overlooked for this part as well. Yeah, that's why during this particular process, then we really look into it and talking about the tax. Because the tax system is based on the each of piece of the cigarette and also the nicotine. So why we are looking at this? Because the health complications that came over, it required the GDP of the country to salvage as well. Yeah, all right. Like why is out the 150,000 per patient if let's say we need a long-term oxygen supply and support. All right. What actually comparing China, EU, and Malaysia? Based on the act, I think the fact is in China they do have the list of substance that actually allow, and they keep on adding the appendix in terms of those approved. But in EU strategy, they don't have. Yeah. But in our country, we move to a certain level. But the fact is, there's still more things that can be done. So especially on the additive list as well. All right. Strengthening additive governments. I think most of the time the strategies, not strategy. I think the way people put forward of the ingredients, we say is food safe, like PG everything. It is a food grade product. But does it mean that food grade is safe when it's being vaporized? Because it's through, not through the GI, it's through the lung. That's the part that food safe doesn't mean that it's inhalation safe. Alright? Unlabeled ingredient, difficult to monitor. I think I won't go through this. This is, I think you might be aware. So flavor unknown key drivers because they want to attract youth. I believe it's not tan, tarik, and syrup bandung. Yang itu bagi kami juga yang uncle, auntie. So mungkin strawberry atau bubblegum yang good for you. Okay. So building towards internalization, alignment perhaps the way how the I think and Prof. Randy and the teams also Prof. Aniki and so on actually working together with international team to liaise. Anyhow, this is just a public health response. I just putting in the general manner. So perhaps I think this is rather straightforward. I won't go through. All right. So key take-home message. So vaping is sophisticated chemical delivery system. So not a safe alternative to conventional smoking. All right. So adolescents, yeah, they are the target at the moment. All right. So health burden, likewise we mentioned, like Bali and actually more popcorn lungs and everything. Yeah, maybe it sounds crunchy, but it's scary. All right. So then the act, looking forward, which specific area we can look into it to safeguard the community. And maybe the last, just in case you have any members of friends and so on, they are still smoking, ask them join the John Quick and talk to check error. Okay, with that, thank you.